All right, everyone. Peace. This is Akeem, Hindsight Radio. I got with me a special guest, Big Herc 916 from Fresh Out. Check out his YouTube channel. Hey, what's going on?
Hey man, what's up, man?
yeah,
Happy
yeah.
2024.
You know your camera's not on. I'm seeing your logo.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
All right. Yeah,
yeah,
happy
yeah,
2024, man.
yeah. Happy 2024. I like the shirt. You sell those are shirts you sell or?
Yeah, this is
Oh, I
on my,
gotta
my
get one.
website, man.
Yeah,
Just something to kind of perk you up, man. You gotta reprogram that mind.
right, right. Man, okay. Since the last time we did an interview, a lot of stuff's happening. People getting exposed.
Yeah.
Cat Williams just broke the internet. Last time I checked, it was 35 million views on there. Um, so spirits, from a spiritual point of view, what do you think is happening right now?
From a spiritual point of view, man, I think we're having a shift in the dimension we're in as far as things are coming out and you know how they say like they give certain spirits or certain deities a certain amount of time to reign, to kind
Mhm.
of have dominance. And it's no different than the people who have maybe had dominance in certain fields, whether it's politics, whether it's entertainment, whether it's music. And a lot of these people have been able to use that power to kind of like have their way with other people. And they've been able to silence those who oppose them. But I think we're at a point now where we're going to hear and actually see a lot more people coming out because the internet has changed the game. And a lot of people feel like they don't have anything to lose anymore. I mean,
Right.
they've already suffered and they need to get it out. You know what I mean? They need to let people know what's really going on and who these people are. Cause, we see these people and they smile on TV and people worship them. And
Yeah.
you don't really know who these people are behind closed doors.
Right. Right. I agree with that. You know, it's like anything. It's like a pendulum. It swings, but it has to come back the other way.
Yes.
So I think, like you said, we in a definitely dimensional shift because it feel like we're not on the same planet. like,
No.
like it feels totally different. Like, what, did I just wake up in another dimension or something? And I think, uh, it's time for the truth to be revealed, all of the truths, because we've been living under a system that has lied to us consistently from the day we was born and still trying to hold up the lies. But, as you know, a lie cannot sustain itself. It's not sustainable. When the truth is there, the truth always wins in the end. The truth comes out. So like things with this Cat Williams and all of this other stuff. And I find it interesting that it's like the most of the exposure that's coming out right now is mostly in our community, like our people that look like us. Like, I'm
Well,
like, go
he
ahead.
said something interesting on the Willie D interview that he didn't say on the other interview with Shannon Sharp. He said those who have lied know the lie. So you're looking over here, but they're steady looking here. He said if they don't like us so much, why do they worship us?
Right.
Why do they put us on these pedestals? These people say, we were less than man, and they were slave, and you this and that. But then they got these guys, bro. Literally, they would lick these NBA players' ball sacks, man. You know what I mean? And
It's just
they,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? So you got to think like something doesn't add up. When you look at like just our our status right now, how could you go even if you go back to like slavery, when slavery ended, so called, and they said everybody came over here on a damn ship. And then you fast forward 30, 40 years later, how can somebody who never read or wrote be able to open up a bank, be able
Right.
to have,
Right. It's too
their
many.
own,
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
it doesn't add
most
up.
of your inventions that they're using now, refrigerators, air conditioning, open heart surgery,
Traffic light,
traffic lights, all it must that was out. We
gas
we
mask.
introduced that to society. right?
Yeah,
So I believe that our history is 85% fabricated.
I believe
The
that too.
85%. Like, even with from the slavery narrative, I know a lot of people, I've had some of my relatives really bug me on that. Yeah, well, we got some history of people saying they was enslaved, but what if they had a gun to their head and had to say that at the time? If you, it's like, think about it. All of those people that sold out in Hollywood, right? They know they sold out. They know they did some shady stuff, right? But they know they can't say anything. What would happen?
Well, think
What would
about this,
happen?
right?
Right.
When you condition a person to be, it's no different than say if you condition a group of people to be gang members.
Right.
Your uncle, your tat, this is just a conditioning, right? And but then you go back and you find some documentation that your people were bankers, they were
Mhm.
doctors, they were lawyers. You start looking like, hold up. Now, in order to amplify that programming, you constantly make movies with these people depicted as these characters you want them to be in modern day society, whether it
Right.
be gang members,
Right.
whether it
Right.
be
Right.
thugs, whether it be basketball players, whether it be deadbeat dads. So when you see that, it's basically being solidified in the mind. But if you were to see otherwise, your confidence level shifts.
Right.
You're thinking like, hold on, man. I'm not just no dude who's around here, hanging out smoking weed all day and drinking lean. I was, I could study engineering. I could study all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's not get in. It's not it's not by coincidence that everything changed when these people, in the 1920s, the Rockefellers, all these people took over the education, the medical. You're talking about the history books. You're talking about like family ledgers. That's why whenever they used to go into these places, they want to burn down everything. They don't want you to know your family history. And a lot of Black people in general are taught that we're just poor. The only people who have made it is what we see today, these athletes and so-called entertainers who have been compromised. That's why they
Right.
keep making these movies. 30 Years a Slave, Color
Right.
Purple, all these poor broke
I
Black
mean,
movies, bro.
think of all the content they can make in movies, and they're bringing out Color Purple again.
That's what
Like,
I'm
for what?
saying.
And all it does is elevate. It's the biggest thing is elevating, right? Or promoting is how bad Black men are.
That's
Period.
it.
And
That's
then
it.
it's actually promoting lesbianism, because in
Yeah,
that I read
yeah,
the book. I read
yeah.
the when I was a teenager. I read because all these girls are I hyped over this book. I said, let me see what this book is about, and I read the book. And the book is about them two having a relationship. I guess the character that Taraji P. Henson is playing and the one that Whoopi played, they had a instance in there where they had some type of sexual relationship in the book, right? And right now, it's coincident that it's coming out at this time when the whole gay LGBT is a big thing now, that they're bringing this movie out, and that's something I want to talk about. I saw Taraji P. Henson complaining about how much she gets paid, right? Okay. But here's the thing. You accepted that contract, right? You accepted to pay, right? That you signed a contract to say this is what I'll take for the payment. But now you're complaining about it. It's not enough. And this and that. Then you're going into these roles that perpetuate destroying your community. I have no sympathy for these people. I really don't. You can complain about your pay and all of that, but these roles you're taking, this role you're taking, because even that movie, Benjamin Button, what did she play? She played like she had a boarding house and she brought them in, something like that. Or, she took in strangers, I guess. All of those characters that show Black women in a light that's not, that great. You know what I'm saying? This movie, Color Purple, promotes what the feminist ideal, really.
Now, going back to that, why aren't more of these so-called Black um, elitists, or people who are prominent Hollywood figures? Why aren't they putting their money together? Why aren't they producing their own movies?
Right. That's another point, right?
You
Why
want
are
to
you
change the
complaining
narrative.
about what they pay you? Now you done made the money, or you know people that making the money, make your own films.
Man, Tahaji P could go to, I'm sure, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, maybe some of these other countries. She have a lot of fans. Talk to some businessmen over there and say, "Hey, I want to make a movie." Yeah, about time you black people started making some movies that show you guys doing this and doing. You could do it. I mean, literally, you could. It take what 4 or 5 of these people who come together, and these people go. You've already made it through the trap the hurdles over here in America. So they're already looking up to you. So if you go
Right.
over there and pitch them, hey, we got a 5 movie deal. This, and this. We'll do this one, fund this one. And you got a good script, bro. You can literally put together a whole new trajectory of black depiction in Hollywood. You don't need to go traditional. So when you
No,
made 150,000
that's
for
what
however many episodes,
Cat Williams
that,
already proved that you don't have to go
who's
convention.
that?
Cat Williams, he
Yeah, yeah,
financed
yeah, yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
own concert, his own shows. He
But
paid
look how
for
they
all of
tried
that.
to. But look what that took, though. He took the
Good.
long route, and it took him at times being subject to scrutiny, like when he said they made up the story about this and they made up the story
Right.
about that. But look, he had to tell him, look, man, he's
He
not
stayed
gonna rate
faithful
me.
though. He stayed faithful to the craft. And now think about it. It did take him a long time to get, well, he was, I've been over, watching his comedy for a long time. That's how I knew Steve Harvey stole his joke. But if you look at where he is now from where he started, because I remember him doing little skits on, there was a show with Damon Wayans, My Wife and Kids. He played on that once. He did one show on there where they had a rap battle going. I don't know if you remember that. But what I say to that is the reward by staying faithful to what he believed in is going to pay off way better than Hollywood could have ever did for him by him selling out. For
Well,
one thing, he could go to bed and sleep and feel like he really is a man. I'm a man because I stood on my man principles. Number two, look at this video he did with Shannon Sharp. 35 million. That last I checked was 35. I know it's probably at 40 now. But he's got concerts that he's, right here coming to North Carolina. That's gonna sell out.
oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
gonna sell out. So by playing the long game, he's number one. To me, he's the king.
Well, the long game too. It goes back to, like you said, the compromises or the sacrifices he made. But like, see, you just said something without really saying it. And some of these roles, you know why these people are having to take these roles? Because they've been compromised.
Right. Right. Right.
If you don't take this
Right.
role, that video
Right.
might leak that we had the party with your booty in the air. And like he said, you get in there, and I've heard of it, man. You go to these parties, bro, you'll be drinking something, and literally you don't know what's in there. You think they popping fresh champagne bottles,
Nah,
and
you
then
don't know what they give you. You gotta be
dude,
careful.
I've seen parties, and I haven't been, but I've been in some parties like in like some really nice areas, and you go in there, bro, people pass the fuck out. You're like, damn, you shut the door. I mean, dude, you just walk away. You don't know what transpires, who could have had anything out.
This is
So
this is basically in that industry, there is some degenerates. Let's call it what it is.
it's a predatory industry, man. It's a
Mhm.
predatory industry. There was a club, I'm not gonna name the club. There's a club in LA where the guy used to bartend. He was telling me that some people would pay him up to $4,000 or $5,000 if he would, let them give them this drink, and the dude would people would drop stuff in the drinks and say, here, give it to somebody. So, hey man, drinks from that guy over there, and you drink it, you pass out, bro. Literally, and people would, dude, you say, see you going to the bathroom, walk in there, you trying to fight back, bro. People were getting a lot of. They don't talk about it, but shit happens, or you get led outside. I've seen people in Hollywood on the curb passed out. Like literally, you could have went up and did. I mean, dude, you don't know. I mean, how'd that happen?
Right. Right.
There's shit going down in there, man. So I mean, like you said, it's a very predatory, and It's literally you're talking about, people say this guy's talented, he's a thespian. Man, at the end of the day, it becomes a power situation and then it perpetuates because this person got exploited, then he exploits the next person, he exploits the next person. So it's a vicious cycle
Right.
because these people like, well, man, I had to give up my ass. You got to give your ass up.
Yeah,
And it's
have
like,
to,
damn.
and that's the thing. They don't have to do it, but they do it because of what? They want the fame. They want the money. The money's gonna come if you stay faithful. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could easily. One thing I gotta. I'm thankful for is that I don't make any money off of YouTube. Like I get a check every 6 months. They'll send me something. It ain't much, but my content outside of that is what takes care of me. So YouTube can say, well, we're going to demonetize it. Well, I wasn't really getting any money anyway. The problem with a lot of these people, and I'm starting to see it in this space too, in the YouTube space, they're selling out too.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, there's people approaching these YouTube channels, these big YouTube channels, some of them, they're being approached to get there. Now, I was listening to Judge Joe Brown. He did an interview with some the Real Dana show.
Yep, I watch it.
He's on hers. And he said something interesting. He said, think about how they're letting that interview go so viral when other channels who talk about the same stuff, they don't make it viral. And he was saying basically he's kind of not like he's Cat Williams is being an agent for them, but like inadvertently. They're allowing him to talk. Think about it. He's been talking about this for years and they kept calling him crazy. He's nuts. Why? Then all of a sudden now they just letting, he can say whatever. In this particular interview, he's saying whatever. He let the gloves off and no one is really coming in and shutting it down.
Well, you got to look at who
the abuse. So I'm not saying that Cat Williams is working with the system, but the system knows what it wants. And it's allowing him to get away because it's time for guys like Steve Harvey, Cedric Entertainer, Kevin Hart. Hey, they've been reigning a long time. Hey, it's time to let you know that you basically got to get back in your place, boy.
Well, too, he said something about like a lot of these guys, they're in position, but they're not putting nobody on. Right. You know what I mean? So when something happens to them, they want to cry, oh man, Hollywood is this or racist. Dude, who'd you help?
Right.
If you would have helped 100 people, you would have had at least 50 of them got your back.
Right. And nobody's got their back so far. Like I've looked at the other videos, people critiquing, and I've looked at some of the responses, like Steve Harvey's response, and what's his name? Ricky Smiley's response was just straight whack. These responses was like, didn't really address the direct, accusation that was made. They didn't say no or yes, like, hey, so there was some facts there. But
well, I've been around Hollywood as far as like a little bit of acting, but even in the writing and trying to pitch scripts and podcasts and different treatments. And most of my help has came from non-Black sources. Black people, man, they're not helping each other. I don't give a damn. I mean, dude, I talked to a lot of them, when I was trying to produce stuff and when I first got out of prison and people look, dude, they're so selfish, these Black people. But once you get on Akeem, hey, Akeem, bro, you got that show, we need to link up. Yeah. Everything changes.
That's true.
And he's outing. I mean, Weinstein's already locked up, but he's outing the other Blacks, which they're basically exposing them. So they're like, okay, you guys clean your own house up. So they're exposing the Blacks.
I agree. We do need to clean our house up. Our house is trash. Like we're bottom of the barrel in pretty much everything, right? And we're top of the charts on all of the crap. High rates of divorce, high rates of single moms, high rates of fathers not being in the home, education. Yeah, our women are getting educated, but at what expense? The rest of the community is suffering, So I agree. I agree with what he's doing, but I also see another force at play that's allowing him to do it. Like
Oh, of
allowing
course,
him to do it. I
of
see
course.
that. And like
But it
just
takes
to speak on
attention.
Steve Harvey, I lived in Columbia, South Carolina for a while. And him and Cedric Entertainer used to hang out at a barbershop. And there was this barber, this guy's passed now, named Heavy, that knew them. And he hung out with them. He used to come into town and watch. Whenever a fight was on, they would come in town, hang out at that barbershop and watch that fight. And I'd never met them in my life, but what people would say about Steve Harvey coincides with what I heard from different people saying, yeah, this guy, he was this way, he was arrogant, he was rude, and things like that. So, so what is being said, I believe, is pretty much on point.
Did you hear the skit where Steve Harvey said for $10 million he would be a monkey? He'd be scratching his ass and ooh-ah. You see that? You see that skit? It
Yeah.
was just
I
a
didn't
skit
see
they
the skit.
found. Well, they people have been digging, and they pulled up an
Yeah,
old
they pull
video,
up all the receipts.
all the receipts, and they got him when he was walking around, literally acting like buffoon. I'm telling you, man, this skit, and they were like, I mean, he's scratching his ass. I'll scratch my ball, 10 million, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, when Monique said nobody had her back, he's like, Monique, we black people, we got to look out for ourselves. See, he's telling you who he is. He's exposed. He don't give a damn about nobody but him. And it's sad because most of these black entertainers, they feel like because of who they are, they got to just do them, and they don't think about like padding the landing around them. They're not doing like the Chinese or the Jewish people or the Russian. They all look out. You'll go to a Russian entertainment or a Russian. That's all Russian. You go here, it's all Jewish or it's all Indian. They look out and they make
And
sure
I don't
they.
have a problem with that. I don't
But
have
blacks
a
don't
problem
do
with
it.
different groups of people taking care of their people. But
No,
we refuse to do it. It's like we have a problem with someone looking better than us or one of us. They don't have a problem with the other group looking better than us, but when it's one of us, we have a problem. Like, and you account to that just on all levels. Like, you go to the store, you come up to a sister or brother to the register, they treat you different than they treat the other groups of people. A couple of times, I went to Starbucks and I'm standing there at the register, all behind the registers, black folks. I'm standing there waiting for somebody to, take my order. They're just acting like I'm not standing there. Then as soon as a white person come up, white lady comes up behind me, all of a sudden, they all, hey, oh, I'll be with you in a second. This is how we treat each other, and then we complain. Why we want to blame a system why we're not getting ahead. We're not getting ahead because, number one, we're not taking care of our community.
that's right.
So how do you expect another community to come and rescue us when we're not taking care of our own business in our own community?
They see that.
Then they see it.
All those other communities, when they see how we treat each other and how we allow ourselves to perpetuate the ignorance, basically they look at, okay, well, they're cool with it, we're cool with it. So we don't have any change in our community, therefore it keeps going because the same stuff you talk about even in the music industry that is negative, you could talk about this positive stuff and have the same impact with a cool beat. And it could be more of an uplifting vibe frequency. And they know that. But they're like, well, you guys want to do this.
Whose fault? Think about that. Although you got the record companies that want or position these artists to come in and sing this, do this music that is divisive, that's demeaning to our culture, right? When I look at it, it's really not their fault. From them, it's a business point of view plan. The reason why they can get away with it is because those rappers are willing to sell out.
Yeah, yeah.
That if there was no one there to pitch that scheme to, they couldn't make any money.
You're right.
So if these people coming into the industry would not sell out, they would change their whole business plan. So, okay, they're not going for that. So let's pitch this. What they will go for. Man, when they want positive music, this is what they'll take. Our community will take positive music, uplifting music all day long if the artist was faithful to it. Because you only listen to what you're being programmed to listen to. Like you started out earlier talking about the movies. How do people believe all of this crap about slavery and all these other historical things that we all of the history we've been taught, we did. First of all, we don't have no firsthand knowledge of any of the stuff they're saying, right? We weren't there, the witnesses. We don't even have our parents telling us that happened. What we have is the school system taught us that. The second thing is the movies are teaching us that. Right? It's this whole narratives that we are buying into. We're getting it from movies. Like, think about it. Black men really, like, they've always throughout the history of Hollywood always painted black men in a negative light, right? We robbed stores, we were pimps, back in the day. And then who made those black movies? Those black movies that showed us as pimp, like Superflies and all those other different movies that came out back in the day in the 70s. Who made those? Who created those movies? Was it white folks or was it black folks that created those? Who played those parts? Who was willing to play those parts to show prostitution in our community? When you really dig in deep, the industry is not at fault here. They take some responsibility. It's the people that are willing to take the money and play those parts. That's who's responsible. Because just like Cat Williams, every one of them could do the same thing. I'm not gonna take. He said Harvey Weinstein offered to do something for him, and he said no. Right? They could say no, but Cat Williams is doing very well by saying no. Now, did he go through some hell? Yes, because why? The reason why he going through hell is not so much the industry promoting, pushing artists to do that. The reason why he's going through hell is because the people that look at him is willing to sell out to those companies. Because think about it. Who talk more shit about him? Think about it. People that look like him. And that's why he got on that interview and started going in on all of them. It was personal for him. Mm-hmm. Because the people that looked like him was crapping on him all the time.
Well, he went in on them too, because those people that look like him, they are not supporting each other. Every person in Hollywood behind closed doors cuts each other's throat, steals from each other. They don't have any integrity for one another when it comes to getting an opportunity. And they feel like because they got an opportunity that it's such a I don't know, I guess some type of blessing that they you gotta wait, Akeem. Let me get situated before I know dudes, oh man, I can't tell nobody else. Let me get my shit going first before I can
because these kids you're gonna do shine better than they are,
And it's like, dude, I mean, you're there going to these meetings, you talking to these executives, you can't make an introduction. See, that's where they don't get it, man. And I think it's just a conditioning, man. It's almost like you said, when you go someplace, whether it's a high-end shoe store or department store, and you come in there and there's a black person working, they'll walk right past you 3 and 4 times, and
right,
like, then it'll be this little dude over here, maybe European dude. Hey man, do you need some help? Yeah. And then you spend all this money, and then he looking, and then a dude looking like, oh brother, man, you couldn't wait for you. You walked by me 5 times.
Right. And then, well, see, that's why I keep holding us more accountable than I hold these industries that want us to go that way. Because if you're a business exec and you're looking at making money, what are you doing? Okay, these people will do this. We can make money. It's a business decision for them. They don't care about our community. They don't care how it destroys our community. It's money. just like the prison system. They don't care about who is really hurting. It's money for them.
Mhm.
But if we don't present ourselves as a living sacrifice to them to put us in that position, they won't have a business. They got a business because our people are participating in it.
Mhm.
The agenda that they want to push, our people participated in it. These roles that these sisters and brothers are taking in these movies, they won't have these movies or have it if our people that look like us won't take them. And we glorify the most stupidest stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Woman King movie. How can a woman be a king? It's king and queen. You see what I'm saying? But then I had a sister. She was like, man, the Woman King movie is this, that, and the other. And I said, it's impossible for a woman to be a king. The king role is designated for a male. The queen role is designated for a female.
Look.
Right?
Why?
And she was like, oh, why couldn't they just call it the Woman Queen?
Look, they made the movie The Equalizer, right?
Yeah.
And then before that, they had The Equalizer, the series. It was a man. Am I correct?
Right. Oh, I know where you're going, but go ahead.
So now you have The Equalizer. You had Jada Pinkett and you have Queen Latifah, right?
Uh-huh.
Beating up all these dudes, right? So in the mind of a woman, you got these women thinking, I beat up these men, I raised my kid by myself. They're using the black woman as a tool, just like they did back in the day, to get them to break the slaves, because the men, once they were born under that type of authority, were conditioned now to be subservient and to have this weak gene, this
Right.
almost weak program, where if you had a father figure who was a man and he's strong and he was seeing, damn, my dad ain't taking shit, it's a different type of psychology. So when you're programming these women, Carissa, the boxer, oh, I knock dudes out, this and that. Look, man, you are good for a woman, but don't get it twisted.
You're not.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a very good point, because there was I think it was a UFC fight. It was a guy who identified as a woman fighting, and a woman, an actual biological woman, two of them fighting. Now, the woman fighter was whooping the guy who identified as a woman behind, like through the whole fight. And guess who won? The guy who identified by the woman. Now, she was more experienced, she had more skills, and she was tagging him, and he was taking it all. Or she, whatever they want to call themselves, was taking it all. And then he flipped the tables, got one hit on her, and that was it. So he allowed her to punch herself out, took all her heaviest punches, and then he went in and won. Now, it looked like she was going to win. The issue is with these movies that are showing these small, and the thing is, they're showing these small, frail-looking women beating 5, 6 guys at a time. I mean, they're showing these women get slammed against the wall, thrown across the room, face smashed into walls, and she still end up winning.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, in real life, that's not going to happen. The first slam into a wall, that's it.
That's a wrap.
First throw across the room. I mean, they were showing these big, heavy, just boom, pounding on this in some of these movies. I'm like, ain't no way. A guy can't even take that. Okay? A guy can't even take that much punishment and still be able to win. But somehow, on these movies, they could get in all this pounding and they muster the strength to turn around, and this totally muscular, shredded dude gets taken out. It's just fantasy that they're creating in these young women's minds. And this is why you see a lot of females just challenging males in public, getting in their face, getting aggressive, and then until they get checked by reality. Listen, we got to understand, men are naturally and always will be physically stronger than women for the most part, as a whole. Okay? Women are not designed to be beaten up. We're designed for, and our build is why? Because our role is protection and covering. That's our role. when we start telling women, hey, you can protect, just like it's not going to happen. This is why you see most men in these physical labor jobs, plumbing, construction. Yes, yeah, there's women that go into construction. Yes, that's true. But that's far from the norm. And most women don't want to do construction because it's a dirty damn job. They don't want to deal with all of that nastiness and road, dust and all of that stuff. And would you really want a woman doing a job like that and she's trying to have children at the same time? A woman is supposed to be protected. We need to protect them because they're the ones who bring in the people into the world,
Now, going back to like the Cat Williams and the Shannon Sharp, what do you said that the powers that be have allowed that to go viral. Now, why do you think they chose the Shannon Sharp platform?
Honestly, I think they chose the Shannon Sharp platform because I think he has to be part of their why they chose that platform. It's hard for me to say. I got my suspicions. Maybe they're allowing him inadvertently or advertently, covert or to be the one to bring down all of these comedians.
I'm looking at the not so obvious. I mean, I look at, okay, they're blowing that up. They're suppressing a lot of the people who are on the Epstein flight list, and people who,
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're blowing that up. You're not looking over here at what this hand is doing. So they're looking over here. And then you have it's funny, like out of all the people, everything going on, and then politically, they still want to try to they want to put one name in there to knock him out the box. So there's a lot of little things going on, but that's just like a big look over here move. Don't worry about this. We got all this going on. The economy's, in disarray. The people are demoralized. They're broken down. But if we can make you guys look at your own people and say, hey, they ain't helping each other. You guys, blah, blah, blah. We can focus on this. And I'm not saying that we should have been focused on that. But at the same time, those people, as a whole, never intended to really help anybody anyway. A lot of people use this, whether it's the black this and that, it's conducive to get to where they need to go. But believe me, they're not really elevating anybody else around them.
No, I agree with you that this whole Cat Williams thing is a distraction. Now, I'm 100% on that. That is a distraction because you don't allow something to go that viral without it having a purpose. There's a purpose there. There's a purpose bigger than exposing some black comedians. And I think you're right with the Epstein, because a lot of that judge have released some list of some photos. And then they
videotapes
and videos, but then they say, okay, we got to redact that. That wasn't supposed to be released. That was a big oops. But you're right, because there's some people on that list that probably would, if they would be exposed, it would change the trajectory of this country. Like I think we would go, it would send a ripple effect throughout the economy if that information really came out. And to say this, what they're doing over there is far worse than any of what these community.
But ain't nobody going to jail for it.
Right.
Ain't nobody going to jail for it. I mean, dude, you literally got, that could be considered a RICO, right?
Right.
Continuing criminal enterprise. These guys have been doing this flying. I mean, dude, isn't it RICO when they show the dude, they watch it for 2 or 3 years and they're doing, boom, they come bust them one day, everybody gets raided at 4 o'clock in the morning. These people have been known to be doing this and nobody went to jail.
It's a usual playbook. It's the usual playbook. Think about it. In our communities, they go through a raid for drugs, people selling drugs and all of this stuff, and all these people go to jail for drugs. But let's look at it for real. How many people in our community is actually producing, manufacturing, distributing the drugs throughout the country? The drugs we get in our community is basically bought from someone else, from somewhere else. We're not, it's like, okay, I got a someone who makes, produces eggs. I got chickens, I give the eggs out. It's the farmer that actually, and then he gets into this grocery stores or whatever, right? Who's producing and manufacturing these criminal enterprises? Like, it's just like with the comedians. They're just participating in what's already established there. They're becoming what you call the pawns. They're the pawns. Okay, you do this for us, and it's deliberate. We keep these guys in the front and make them do all of this crazy stuff so that we can use them to distract them from what we really doing out here. We're sex trafficking, internationally sex trafficking.
Yeah.
But that stuff is child's play compared to what we're really doing over here. We got a whole network of, okay, we're gonna film this movie over here. What we got going over? Where's our connection to these sex trafficking rings over there? So, just like I was saying with the drug community, all of this stuff would not work without who? Government participation.
There's a lot of complicit people in the whole game. And, Kat said, because the guy said, "Do you like the industry?" He's like, "Yeah, I love it." I mean, you got to understand what you're playing if you want to play, and you got to understand what you could come what you could come and face to face with if you are playing that game, and if you're willing to do that. So, like you're saying, in the drug game, at the highest level, you're involved with the alphabet boys. You got to have to work with them. Because
Right.
somebody has to go down while you
They
continue to flourish, and
Right.
that's what happens. So in Hollywood, it's the same thing. You got the dudes in the front, and they're playing the game, but they're protecting the interests of the people in the back.
Right.
And
They're just
if you want to,
distractions.
you're distractions. But hey, if you want to keep your position, whether whoever it is, the head guy or actress, you got to come and hang out with us and do this. And so we keep you on a leash. If you're not compromised, you can never get to a position. And that's why and I'm going back, it could be whatever, but that's why I go back to the man they're trying to prosecute, because what do they have? If they got something on you, you keep your mouth shut. Do what you're told. But when you keep talking out, man, we can't control this guy. That's a good thing. If you can't control, that's a good thing. Obviously, he's gonna
They have nothing to use on him, right?
So it's the same thing going on in politics. Is that, damn, what can we find? Make up something. But this guy, we got all kind of shit going on. So he's not saying shit. Right. And that's what's going on in Hollywood. The same thing. Right. The people he's talking about can't talk.
It's a rotation. With us, when our people sell out, they got to be rotated out. Meaning, okay, you get your time to be famous, and then now we're gonna get you on tax fraud later on, and shit bring you down. Or we get you for something else. We always say you're crazy. You got to go through your rotation. You only gonna be up there for so long. Think about Michael Jackson was big time. Then when he tried to come back out, what happened?
Michael was a lot smarter than people thought. Right. And he would start talking about, his master's catalog was worth like $2.5 billion. Right. And people never knew that.
He owned mostly all of the groups out there.
Yes, a lot. The Beatles, Elvis,
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yes. He owned them,
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So when you don't want to play that game, it's almost like the Prince game. Prince owned a lot of masters, bro. And they, when they can't control that, you're talking about these people, we look at like, okay, you're living and you live to be whatever, and this is what you have while you're here. These people are trying to feed their families for the next 3-4 generations when they're done, 5 generations. So you got people in Hollywood who have never made any music and they're still eating off this stuff from somebody that's family who's living in the hood right now, who is a talented musician, Right. Because what did it take? What is it, 50 years before it reverts back to the family, I think, on your publishing?
Right. I don't know exactly how that works, but it seems like right before they get those publishers, a lot of them end up dead. Now, one thing about Prince, I just want to add, he had a vault full of music that was his. See, when he did his music, he wouldn't take the advances. because he had his own studio. So he did all of his music in his studio. So you couldn't say I took an advance to go get studio time, right? Then on top of that, a lot of the music that he released was music he had already created years before. So, and he knew it was good. He said, okay, my contract says I have to do so many albums and they got to reach a certain level. So he would go get he wouldn't give them the very top. He would give them the music that just would make it to the levels he agreed to. See, the thing is, they wanted that private collection that he had. They wanted that. And I don't know if they got it or what happened after he passed, but he had a vault full of music that no one had ever heard. And they knew it and they wanted it. And they were trying to get him to give it up for years, but he wouldn't do it because they wouldn't play fair. And he was just like, listen, I'm doing my own music in my own studio. Let's be fair about it. They didn't want to be fair about it, So he was one of those that just said, I think he got into contracts and then later on he said, I'm not gonna, play by these games anymore. Then he backed off of it. Once he saw that's why he put that thing on his face that he was a slave. Yeah. And then he changed his name, artist formerly known as Prince. And I think the reason why he couldn't use Prince anymore because that was some type of rights or own, something to that effect. Anytime he used that, he would have to share the revenue of using that term or that name.
Well, those contracts, like you said, once you become aware of what the contract consists of, but most of the people, once again, going into that industry, which, unless you have some type of like, family or somebody who's really got your best interest, a lot of times you're being led right to the gauntlet because that industry is more vicious than any street game because of the paperwork and the contracts and stuff like that. And then
they don't give you time to sign it. Like, hey, take some time and think about it. Nothing. They like put pressure on you because they know they can get somebody else just to replace you. They can get another.
Exactly.
And they know that it's really now this day and age. It's not about talent anymore. It's about marketing. I can market anybody to stardom. Because if you look at the talent pool out there, there's not many people that are great singers out there anymore. Or great people who could play an instrument. There's not. It's all, most of the popular music that we're listening to is all gimmicky and it's all about promotion. And they play this stuff over and over and people end up liking it. That's pretty much what we got going on now. But what do you think, like, with all of this, in the light of everything that's happening, we got 2024 election coming up. What do you think on that? Like, are we going to make it to an election? Because it looks crazy right now.
Well, the election, I look at like whenever you have chaos, there's always money being made still. There's people like really like even during war, they're still going to resorts and partying. I mean, it's not like anything's really changing because like on a political level, if your community representatives are not doing what they're supposed to, because remember, really the vote is the electoral. You got the electoral, and I forgot the other, but it's like our vote don't really. It's just a popularity.
Our vote don't count towards the presidential election.
No, so when you look at like
you saw that in I think when Trump won. When Trump won, Hillary had more votes, but somehow Trump still won. Right? And then it was crazy. This election that happened just now with Biden and all that, they try to say Trump had more votes this time. So what happened to him in his election, him getting reelected, happened to him with Joe Biden. And then, there was some shenanigans going on with them. Well, I don't care what nobody say. I believe them.
I don't believe in the voting system anyways. I don't trust. I don't think, to be honest.
They know who they want. They know who they want ahead of time.
I mean, anytime you look at all the video footage we see now of that date, and they're still talking, the guy's crying, Oh man, that was such a day. I'm like, dude, come on. They got the brother on CNN crying,
Oh,
talking about the.
man.
I mean,
like
really?
like he care that much.
Come on, man.
What you
This
crying
is a
for? Like
it's a drama
that's
show,
all
man.
act. It's act. It's an act. Yeah, like you were saying about the vote. The Constitution actually says that our vote don't count, but they don't teach you the Constitution in school.
No.
It says the electorate. The electoral college is the ones who say who's going to be the president. The where the vote counts is on the local level. The
Yeah,
people
of course.
in your community, your local legislature, the biggest, the ones that really affect you is your town councils. Those
That's
are the
right.
ones who telling the cops who to pull over,
That's right. That's right.
who to harass.
And you know what people don't understand about the Constitution? Because everybody's like, oh man, this republic, this and that, and what we're found. A democracy is based on a whole system of
Mob
who
rule.
owes who. Well, who owes who? Remember, when I just watched it, there was a movie, and I don't know if you ever seen it at the International, but they're talking about banks and funding countries and about the conflicts. They don't care about the conflicts, they care about the debt. The
Mm.
debt is what controls a country. The debt in the United States is what controls. So right now, the person they have in office, they are controlling through the debt. Now, if this guy comes in and says, we don't want to pay, we're not going to give him this much money. No, what? They get upset because he's like, dude, that debt is not based on, that's some bullshit. That's why they had to get this dude out of there. When you talk about taking away, what is it, 300 million, 500 million a billion from the UN, and China's not paying. You talk about not giving these economic forum their yearly month, dude. They're like, dude, hold on, you're messing with our, dude. A lot of people were losing a lot of money off this dude.
Right.
Get him out of there. That was a business move. It had nothing to do with him being, white supremacy, racist.
Oh, that was all about business.
That. You know what I
If
mean?
he was
It was
playing
all
ball,
about
they
money.
would not have gotten rid of him. And the way they coming at him, they're charging him with these crazy.
When have you ever seen them take somebody off a ballot?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Come on, bro.
And that's voter, and they're talking about voter interference. That's a classic case of voter interference. How can the Supreme Court speak for the people when it comes to voting?
This is literally
take him off. He's not. First of all, he's not convicted of anything.
Exactly.
So how are you convicting him prior to a trial? So everything about it is unconstitutional. Like what they're trying to do, they know everything they're doing is unconstitutional, right? But it's time, buying time. And I really think they're trying to push us into a civil war. I think they're trying to push us so far off that people just lose their minds and just start fighting.
Yeah, but people, the timing right now for the type of people they think are going to fight ain't the right people. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be those militias.
Well, yeah, because they're not even crazy. You go like what they're showing the public, what the people they think are really moving and doing something. Those people ain't about shit. The people that the ex-military, the dudes who know what's happening, they're not even on TV. They're not doing videos. They're not out here. And they believe in American values, and like I said, the whole objective has always been to make this a world government, and they want this world shit over here.
When I say crazy, what I mean is not in a bad way, but I mean like they're crazy in a way where they're willing to do what it takes to do. They're gonna do what they need to do to fight for what they believe in. That's what I'm saying. The society will deem them as crazy because, and they actually I was reading something where they have a resurgence of these militia groups who are even contemplating like, hey, it's time for us to do something. But here's the thing, and this might spark it. The Constitution supports that.
Yeah.
It supports the people, and that's in all constitutions just about, it says that the people have the right to take over their government if the government is not doing the right thing. It's in it, but that's why they don't teach you that. You have the right, like if they're not protecting your interests, the government is really like a trustee, meaning Everything they do is for the benefit of the people.
Yes.
What the government is doing now is everything they're doing is for the benefit of themselves, whoever's
Corporate
in the know, or corporations, right? That's why they created W-2 employees, meaning where they take your money before you even get it. Because they know if they didn't do that, people wouldn't give them their money, just hand it over to them. So they force companies like, for instance, my trucking company, they wanted me, we want to do your payroll for you, right? I'm not going to say the name of the company. Said we want to do your payroll, but the thing is, if you want us to work with you and do your payroll, you have to have W-2 employees. So that means I have to become a withholding agent for my employees to take their money out of their check before they get it. And that's the catch that they're doing with all of these corporations. Have W-2 employees. Why? Because there's a benefit in that. Meaning for the company, they can take the money out. They have a year from the time they take the money out to give that up to the IRS. So what they do with the money? They can invest it, make money off the payroll. You see? So they're all in bed with each other, creating legislation, like you said, to protect corporation interest. So, but they have dumbed down the populace so bad they can't even see they're being robbed, that they're
Yeah.
being scammed.
It's a handful on some of the TikTok and IG profiles that are spreading information that have good, and they always, if you notice the really good ones, they always take away their followers, or fact check, and they
Oh yeah, they throttle my videos all the time. I have a
and
bunch of people on live and then go there and said only 2 people watched it.
exactly,
Like,
because they don't want people. It's just like us. We fresh out. We've been at 564,000 subscribers for 4 years.
that's like mine. I'm like, I've been at 9,500. I don't have a whole, I have a decent, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But it's been at 9,500 for the last 2.5 years.
How's that possible?
I don't get, and they keep telling me people are subscribing.
Dude, I had somebody tell me, said, dude, I didn't even know you were posted. He said, I was subscribed. I'm not getting a notice. He said, so I unsubscribed and subscribed again to
Right.
try to get over it. So, what we talk about, the elevation of consciousness, they always
Not what
said,
they want. They don't want people to get elevated.
no, but they always said, remember the last piece of the puzzle was controlling the media, man. Once they got rid of all these, remember back in the day, almost like what they call it when you had the antitrust, when they broke up all the different companies because you were controlling too much of one particular field, whether it's telecommunications,
Being
uh,
monopoly.
monopolies.
Yeah.
So antitrust laws. Well, now, like you said, if you do the research and you look at the pyramid, which goes in the social media thing, it's basically the same, 4 or 5 companies controlling every outlet, man. So,
Yep.
how are you gonna really get to somebody? And that's why they want to get rid of TikTok, was because it ain't because, oh, China, they're look, man, we can look at TikTok over here has just as good as information if you look for it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but TikTok, they can't control it. They want to be able to control what you were looking at. So,
Right.
so
Right.
that's the real thing about it.
Yeah. I know that, like, only certain videos I see take off, right? And as long as I'm talking about something crazy or something that fit in the trend of some type of violence, something promoting something negative, it's going to take off. And that's what I think what I get from the whole Cat Williams thing is selling out for what? At what expense are you willing to go that route to start doing your content in such a way that you can get the followers? Because most of our people, when you really look at it, all they want is followers.
Yeah.
And get paid. They don't care about what it does to the community. Like all of the videos they do and the negative videos they do on Black women. Like, yeah, this stuff may be true, but is it helping us? Or is it creating a bigger wedge between the Black man and Black woman by you promoting these these women who have these types of attitudes, because not all of the sisters are like that. But if you look at the internet, you would think every sister was acting just like what they're describing.
Well, a lot of them aren't like acting. Well, I would say, and it's just like saying every black man he's somehow been to prison, or he's a thug, or he's good at basketball, or he can run fast. It's like not everybody. So it's the stereotypes that they're pushing, but at the same time, the accountability in our community,
Is
and for
low.
them to
We
create,
don't have accountability.
no accountability. But when you constantly create the misconception that you don't need the black man, or he's this sellout, or he's this and that. It just keeps lowering his stock, because you got to remember, out of all the different men out there, the most fantasized about is the black man.
Yep.
The cuck is never a white or Asian guy. Ain't nobody caring about an Asian guy coming to hit his wife. It's the black guy. And
Right.
you talk about like
Well,
strength.
yeah.
I
History
mean,
says that's why they castrated black men back in the day, because they were jealous. Think about any racist ideology or prejudice is all founded in jealousy.
well, they're jealous of the sexual prowess, the physical genetic makeup, and then you take the thing that we've pretty much been devoid of, in the sense of psychology wise, as wealth. Now, if the black, when you got a rich black guy and dude, that's like the ultimate. We got to destroy that. So we never show you image of the Moors who were balling with concubines in
Right.
China and Europe, and these dudes were wealthier than the wealthiest. They had to get rid of those dudes and replace it with a bunch of older European guys who control the banks to make it seem like you guys ain't never had shit.
Right.
So when you
Right.
when you look at the whole imagery, it's layers to it. It's different layers to it. So getting rid of the black guy in that sense, because that trickles into everything else. And even when you look at how they ushered in politics, they use Obama to create the image of he's going to help us. Nothing changed.
Actually got
Nobody.
worse.
Yeah,
It got
no
worse.
banks got audited. There wasn't a shift in black financing or loans or anything in the communities. And if anything, whatever we needed done that was being second guessed by the black community, we were able to do it more because we have somebody in your face that looks like you.
Right.
And then on the athletic end, going back to what you were saying about Hollywood, nobody made you become an actor, but Kaepernick, they found out he's not even black, but he's taking the knee. He's talking about his family.
Right.
They got mad because I had cornrows. My family got mad at me about cornrows. You know what I mean? So
Stupid stuff. Like, yeah.
you know what I mean? But the black is like, dude, I have somebody calling saying, "Oh man, you're a black conservative, you goddamn sellout. You listen to Thomas Sowell." I'm like, dude, are you that ignorant? But you are that ignorant.
The thing is, the people that speak like that never read anything,
No.
studied anything. Their opinion is based off what they saw on television, on news.
Yes. Short clips.
Like I refuse to have a debate with anybody whose source of information is mainstream media. Like, for instance, I was talking about my wife had to do a short stay in the hospital, and I was it was they were having her drink ginger ale, right? Diet ginger ale. And I said, I much rather her drink regular ginger ale than the diet. I said, none of those two are good choices. Number one, it has no ginger in it. Number two, the substitute sugar is more dangerous than the actual refined sugar. Right? Then they wanted to go back and forth with me about that. Like I said, I said, you guys know that the studies say this.
Yeah.
I was talking to I didn't want, I wasn't in the room talking about it because she was trying to recover. But I was talking, I said, this stuff, this is what you're giving a person who needs to get well? A chemical drink? But that's my point. What point I'm trying to make? People are severely miseducated and believe that they know what they're talking about. and will argue with you because you have a difference in opinion because it doesn't fit the narrative or the mainstream point of view. Like, it's obvious that what black folks are going through, the agenda that's being painted, the whole agenda to put us against each other, that is an agenda. But at the same time, we have to be accountable because we don't have to go for the agenda. We don't have to fall for that. We don't have to buy into, just like the rappers who want to get on. They don't have to go and sell themselves to be on. But because they want to do what? And this Cat Williams said it. They want the shortcut. They don't want to work hard. And I think that's the biggest point he was trying to make. All these shortcut takers. I worked hard for what I got. I got villainized, and people locked me up like 19 times, and I'm here. I am. Whereas the shortcut takers want to come and tell the lies and make themselves out to be gods or these holier than thou people, and they're deep down inside they're corrupt. You see, so what I think is going to help our community is we know we can't take shortcuts. To be truthful and to be upstanding and to be honorable in our community, there's no shortcut to that. It's either you is or you isn't. And I agree, we need to clean house. We have to clean our house first before we could even talk about anything else.
How are you going to clean house though when you have, like you said, the people that they'll show you that we can take somebody with no talent and make him a millionaire, what appears to be a millionaire, because they're really all of its advancements. You got to pay it back, but we can make them appear to be a millionaire, and they come from the lowest educational, economic background.
Like Sexy Red.
Yeah, exactly.
And take somebody like her. Yeah,
you're educated, you're articulate, you're well-rounded, and we're going to make this girl look like she has more money than you, therefore she has more influence. So how do you compete with that? How do you counter that type of psychology? I don't and like you said, we're kind of like considered old heads now. They don't want, oh, you just
listen to us unless we start talking like them.
Exactly, but that's
like Charleston White does.
I think that's going to be a big distance, man. Like you said, Charleston, they gravitate to him, and he's intelligent, but he can put that out there.
Like them.
He speaks like that.
He like them.
But
he dressed like them.
We're just going to have a separation in culture.
Yeah, that's what's good. And that's the ones who want to do it is going to do it. The ones who don't want to do it is not. I don't see. Honestly, I'm with you on that. I don't see, as a community as a whole, us being able to fix it. It's so far gone.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
We're going to have to, the ones who want to do right is going to have to individually do their thing and connect with the groups of people that are
like-minded.
That are like-minded. It's, and Cat Williams said this. He said, it's not about color. It's either the ones over here that are for God and the others. And the ones over here that are for God don't care about the others. So
that's right.
That's right. Pretty much where we have to go with that.
That's it. And it's not even racial, like you said. It goes beyond that. A lot of people, oh, the black community. Look, man, when I was in prison, I did have some brothers I messed with, but I got plugged from the Mexicans, white dudes, Asian. I was getting information and knowledge from all type of people. It wasn't, I had a lot of the black guys mad at me because I was studying so much. They're like, nigga, do your time. They get mad at me.
Right.
Literally.
If I was your time, you pass the time learning,
Well, but I'm not hanging out. I'm not being involved with the culture in prison because I'm the way I'm coming across. I've heard guys, oh, you think you're better than me. I never said just because I walk around with a book bag.
Right.
That's the same thing. You seen it when you used to be a kid, you had the backpack all the time. Oh, why you always got that backpack, Akeem? You always got with you. I used to see it, man. So it's the same thing. And that's the ignorance, when you see, man, I was in juvenile hall and I remember freshman, sophomore year. Yeah, I got busted sophomore summer. Right. I was already in chemistry, Spanish 2, trigonometry, and some other classes, And literally, I'm in there with guys who are big time drug dealers in juvenile hall, and these guys can't even read like a seventh or sixth grade book. And so when you're trying to communicate and you're talking about like, talking about things of a different educational level, it gets offensive to them because then when a person can't register what you're saying, Akeem, when you start talking in a higher octave,
Oh, they get sleepy on
and
you. They start
they just
eyes
want to
start rolling.
they just want to get violent.
Yeah,
The whole thing when you break down, okay, F you, let's get down. What do
right.
you mean? Hold on. I'm just trying to, no, brother, let's get down. You saying I'm stupid. So let's get, I never said you were, but that's the, you know what I mean? It's a
Right.
break.
I see
So
what
how,
you're saying.
you
Yeah.
can't fix that, bro. These
No, you
dudes,
can't. You
you
can't.
go,
It's like I've been in those situations where dudes want to fight for some stuff. Like I've been in situations where um I was accused of ratting on somebody. This is in school. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Someone said that I did, but they're so ignorant, ready to believe who they like, saying what they said. They just wanted to fight just to fight. So I had to fight because what was I going to do in that situation? You're coming at me saying I did something. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But at the same time, you're threatening me with violence. Okay, I got to meet violence with violence now.
did you hear
So
about Cat
that's
Williams,
why.
the comedian in Atlanta whose husband pulled a gun on him?
Oh yeah, after he roasted that I think of Rhonda something, I forgot her last name. She called her husband, and I think it was a husband and son. The son, I think it was the son who pulled the gun or something,
All
threatened
over
his life.
that. See what
And
I'm
he
saying?
said, everybody was okay with that. Didn't even make a big deal about it.
But they would have been mad if he would have pressed charges.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. There's no accountability in our community. Listen, she came at him. He came back harder. She came at a veteran. She was a rookie. She wasn't a good comedian. He roasted her hard, and he should have. Why are you getting? Why now? You want to shoot him because he
better yet, what's the accountability for her? Why didn't people go in on her? Her son damn near killed this man because you talk shit about him and he talked shit back.
right.
That's disgusting, bro. I don't want to be
It
around
just
people like
shows how
that.
they give sisters a pass.
Those people are disgusting. I
Yeah.
do not want to be around people who are cool with somebody coming to try to take my life because they made themselves look bad and now they don't want to they don't want to live with it. That's disgusting, bro.
Everybody just looked away on it like it was nothing. And I could, when he talked about that, you can kind of see the hurt in his eyes when he's in the end, when he said everybody was okay with
Yeah.
the people was, and that's why, and I think he's at that point where we were just talking about it ain't about color, because all the people he got beef with is who? People that look like him, got the same complexion, who didn't have his back, and it's confirmed that he had a lot of comedians back, white and black, put them on, gave him money. You see, but no one's talking about that. I did not know that until he said that. You know what I'm saying? Until he says that, I didn't know he was that type of dude.
Remember, he said that there would be women who would just give comedians local when he would come in a bag, and he said, "Man, if I made $100,000 in your town, I'm gonna get back some blessings." So
Right.
this is what I would do, but he ain't bragging about it. He ain't telling
Right.
people about it. But this is what's going down. Like you said, this guy's generosity, nobody even knew. And then I heard black people, "Oh man, he couldn't have read no 2,000, 3,000 book. That dude lying. You ain't never read a book."
Right. I think he did. I believe him. Him and I have the same background. He grew up in the Jehovah's Witness faith. I did. They make you read. And when he said he gave his talk, he was like, in front of thousands of people. That is possible because my first Bible lecture was 8 years old.
That's what he said.
In front of 1,000 people, but it was around 100 people. That was my first Bible lecture, 5-minute Bible lecture. Very first. I was 8 years old. Okay? So when he said he liked to read, and I did a lot of reading. I didn't do thousands of books, but for some reason, when you're taught the Bible the way you're taught through the Jehovah's Witness faith, it makes you want to know more, crave for information, like because you're being trained to read and interpret what you're reading, right? And of course, you're interpreting it according to their standards. But when you get like a person like Cat Williams, like myself, where we like, wait a minute, there's something more here, and you start reading other things. Oh, I can see you reading 3,000 books. I can see that because you become a junkie for knowledge. Like, man, what more can I find out? Oh, this is, and you get your feeling. Like, I mean, when I started teaching the stuff I taught, there was people in that realm of information 10, 15, 20 years before me. And I eclipsed them. I moved way past them within 4 to 6 months. Why? Because I was reading. I was up in the middle of the night reading, hours at a time reading stuff. Next thing you know, you can read hundreds of papers. When you're really into what you're reading, you don't even realize how much you're reading. But people who don't read cannot connect with that or have an idea that that's possible because they never done it.
No, I agree with you, man.
Here's the thing. And a lot of Christians who claim that they're Christians, and I say you can't even call yourself a Christian if you're not reading the Bible. But there's a lot of people who claim to be Christians and have never read the Bible. Or they'll say this, I don't understand what the Bible's saying. That means, number one, you don't know how to read and comprehend. And these are people who have said this to me who got degrees. I read it, but I don't understand. I can't get nothing out of it. Now, when I read it, I read the Bible cover to cover twice in my life, early on. Cover to cover, every page I read, even the introduction stuff, the stuff that you don't have to read, right? Twice, right? Now, a lot of people will say, oh, that's not true. Would probably say that that's impossible. Why? Because they never tried it. And a lot of them read it and can't understand it. But one thing about the Bible, it's really, I believe it's got some type of spell or energy over it. Mm-hmm. It's only going to be revealed to the person who's really wanting the truth or want the knowledge. You're only going to understand it if you're really interested in understanding it. For not just being a person who just want to preach and just be somebody's leader, but someone who really wants to know, it's going to reveal. That's why the Bible is written. That's one of the only books that's written on parchment paper. And one of the things in witchcraft and all these other schools of thoughts, they write everything on parchment paper. So that's why the Bible, I believe, has some type of energy or spell over it. And the only people that can really decipher it, although I know it's been revised thousands of times, is people who really are interested in finding the path, a true path of truth to it. That's just my opinion. But anyway, man, it's 3:21, man. We've been going, man. You got anything else you want to share?
No, man. I mean, like you said, we'll tap in again. I'm gonna have you back on my platform, man. But yeah, we're in some interesting times, and we're definitely, the gap is gonna widen between those and those who are not, because like you said, it's a different vibration, bro. You can't, the people over here who can't interpret, you're not gonna, it's not gonna
get it. Because I mean, I've literally, like, just on that, I have literally explained something, broke something down to people, and then not even just the Bible, just reading something in general. Maybe it's a law, several times, and it still don't click. And that's when I realized something about that. It's either you're truthful or you're a liar. Mm-hmm. And there's different types of liars. There's the people who just lie in general, just over some simple stuff. And it's just people that just maliciously lie, just to deceive people. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. If you have a lying spirit in you, you will never see the truth, even if it's put right in front of your face.
No, you're right.
This is why people fall for the false narratives that the media puts out. Because guess what? Most people are just not truthful. In order to be truthful, a truthful person, first you got to be truthful with yourself and hold yourself accountable. for everything that's happened to you.
But think about this. At all the millions of people on YouTube, how we connect.
Right. How did we? Right. It's like out of nowhere. Like, how
It's
did
energy.
that? Oh, what's your partner?
Anthony.
Yeah, right.
But I'm saying though, I'm saying Anthony, he's a conduit to get us to, you know what I'm saying? So there's conduits out there.
Right.
But you're in a whole nother thousands of miles away.
I was like,
yeah,
and the stuff I'm talking about, what you're talking about, although I talk about a lot of spiritual things and you do too. Yeah, that's how we connected on because the vibration was the same. Truth.
Yes.
And that's the thing I'm saying. Hey, would I like a lot of people liking my videos? Of course. Would I like a lot of followers? Of course. But I want followers. I want genuine followers, truth seekers. That's what I want. I don't want the fake followers, because why? The fake followers come in and they're going to throw shade on everything I say, and I don't tolerate it on my problem. Somebody come up with some negative stuff, boot, they get the boot. I don't wait. I want only positive vibes over here. And
that's right.
The reason why I don't get a lot of drama in my life is because I'm truthful. Truth runs away drama quick. If you tell somebody the truth, you want to get rid of somebody fast, tell them the truth. Period. Tell them the truth and see what happens. You'll see what. Now, a truthful person be like, yeah, you know what, you're right, and you could politic with them. But a false person, a person about lies, they ain't trying to hear it. They get mad and they leave. Oh, that king, he's an asshole. He's this, he's that. Okay, I'll be that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. When you ready, and even people like that I've told the truth with, and they went off and they were angry with me. A lot of times they come back later, yo, man. After I really looked at myself and looked at the situation, you was right. And I said, I always hope people to come around. And I said, hey, I'm glad you're saying it. At least what I said sparked you to really look at yourself. Stop looking at everybody else. Look at you. Yeah. Because if there's problems in your life, you got to start with yourself. That's number one. Right. And if you really, outside of all of him talking, Cat Williams talking about everybody else, he said some really profound things in his in his interview. He talked about he got everything he needs wherever he go.
That's right.
He don't need anything. And that shows that that's a man who appreciates what it took to get what he got and what he has. So that means he'll always be rich.
But another thing, like he said, he don't walk in fear because he lives with God.
Right.
When you're with God, you're protected. Everywhere I went, even when I was in prison, I said, I used to pray and meditate. I was protected. I literally had a force field around me every yard I hit.
Right.
I wasn't worried about getting stabbed or doing anything because I knew I was the truth.
Right.
So why would I live in fear in a prison situation? The guards couldn't touch me. The warden couldn't touch me. The inmates couldn't touch me because I was the truth, man.
Right. And see, a lot of people look at your experience and say, well, he went to prison. He did this. Well, who is he to say something to me about it? Actually, people who have gone through stuff like you did and had those experiences early in life, that experience is something that you can share with someone else. Say, listen, man, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through.
Yes.
Those are the best teachers. Like I got caught up with illegal activities when I was a teenager. I left, like our story, like Cat Williams, is similar. Like he left home at 13. I left home at about 15. I left. I got tired of it. I just, but my reasons for leaving was totally different. He had beef with his dad. My reason for leaving, I got caught. I got hooked up with this girl, and you can't do that in there. You can't be out there without being married, having relations. I got my nose open. That's why I left. But we left, and then through that, man, a whole experience happened through that. Just. Wow, I was homeless for some months. I went around. I was sleeping on the subways, stuff. Well, I think I slept on the subway for almost a week, close to a week, and then my aunt let me stay with her. That's a whole nother show. But when he started talking about how he left and went, I said, "Dang, wow, that's kind of the path I took." And then I came to this, like, I'm here now. But those experiences, that's why he's the way he is, because he went through some things. He saw people homeless. He saw people strung out, and he helped. Now he's helping. He's giving back. But anyway, man, good talk, man. We got to do it again. I look forward to doing it on your platform. Everybody, this Big Herc 916 from Fresh Out. Go check him out. Have very good information over there. All right, Herc.
I appreciate the opportunity, brother. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.